So Sharon wants to thank Victor and also Nicholas, who did all the beautiful cartoons for her Red Book. She's now trying to work on a new book called Big Bessie Explores, and we're still trying to do the cat book, which may be a cartoon cat book. And thanks to Nicholas, he gave us that idea. So without further ado, I would like to say Victor is going to read Sharon's favorite, and that was inspired by Nicholas Kroll, our guest today, about Tommy Two and his addiction to crazy critters or greenies. Take it away, Victor.
Well, we'll take it away. Listeners will know that we've read this story before, but it's a lot of fun. And I believe I have mastered the alliteration of the green cat treat kitty critters. So this book is it's from the book Big Bessie Super Handy Dart Volume 2, the one with the big red cover. Stories by Sharon, Rowe, R-O-W-E, and features illustrations for each story by Nicholas Curl, C-U-R-L, who is our current guest. You'll hear from him in just a moment. And in fact, the story here has a great illustration from Nicholas. It's set in a kind of dining room at a dining room table, and there's a box, and all the triangular green crazy critter cat treats are climbing out of the box, just like in the story where Tommy, too, the Bengal cat, is looking at him over on the left-hand side, startled and wondering quite what is going on. So here is the story, Tommy Two's Addiction. Tommy Two, Sharon's extra-large Bengal cat, was addicted to a green treat called kitty critters. He could eat them day and night. He woke up Ariadne, Mommy Two, several times a night, howling at the top of his lungs for his favorite treat, kitty critters. Yowl, yowl, I want more and more now. Well, that left Mommy Two very grumpy. I want to sleep, night, night, she would say, and the next morning she would always be very tired and cross. Mommy Two said, the label says only 12 kitty critters a day or night, not the whole container, but Tommy Two didn't listen. He wanted them all. Sharon, Mummy One, looked closely at the big container with a lid on it, and she said, hey, wait a minute. There's something moving around inside. I think the kitty critters are alive. Well, it was too late to do anything about that. Sharon was getting ready to go to class, and Big Bessie, her handy dart, was about to pick her up and was waiting outside, and all of a sudden, the plastic container burst open, and the green kitty critters came rushing out. Well, Tommy Two was so surprised that he raced after his favorite cat treat as they ran as fast as their little green legs could carry them. They ran out the door, down the hallway, into the elevator, into the lobby, through the outside door, with Tommy Two always hot on their trail. They almost tripped the handy dart driver over, who was waiting for Sharon and did not expect running cat treats and a big cat chasing them. They ran outside and rushed up the handy dart ramp, having a hard time getting up the stairs since they were so little, but a hungry cat was chasing them. Well, they all got into the handy dart. Big Bessie was a little confused, and they all drove off to Sharon's day program. And then they all rushed into the class, especially the kitty critters and the cat. And the staff person who was there said to the driver and Sharon, take those green kitty critters home and that cat now. They have no place in the class. So back the kitty critters and the cat and Sharon went out of Big Bessie, into Big Bessie, out of Big Bessie, through the door, down the hallway in the apartment building, into the elevator, and down Sharon's hallway, laughing all the way, with a tired cat and a tired Sharon chasing them. The door to Sharon's condo was open, and they rushed in, still laughing, and the kitty critters jumped into the container, laughing and laughing at the cat, and Tommy Two, the cat, was too tired to do anything, even yowl, and he never ran after the kitty critters again. He'd learned something. And Big Bessie, she tooted, "Good riddance to the kitty critters. I never." And that is the story of how Tommy Two hopefully never ate kitty critters again because they were alive. And Mummy Two was finally able to get some sleep. And the story ends with a note: thanks to my illustrator, Nick Curl, for the name Crazy Critters. It's the end of another great adventure in this book. And in fact, that is the last story in Big Bessie Super Handy Dart Volume 2. And now a very short story. It's only 3 paragraphs of my own, just to torture listeners who are expecting quality literature. Next week on Monday, in fact, I'll be 79, just on the edge of 80 there, 79.
Happy
And
birthday!
thank you, thank you. And so this story is about that, but it's also a bit about denial about aging. And it's called Not in Denial About Aging. Henry, always abrupt, was now 78 and feeling used up. He would angrily erupt, having to push himself from a chair. His spring had sprung had become his fall, and he worried about falling from something tall. To avoid the stairs, he had a new washroom installed on the ground floor, replacing most of his kitchen, while believing he was not avoiding or denying. Despite 2 lens replacements, his eyesight was not great, but his solution was to stop reading. A headset for podcasts made him dizzy, but the experience was good unless he stood. You may have guessed how his diet was going, as his collection of daily pills was growing. When concerned friends asked if it was healthy to be in denial, Henry replied, "That's a pile, I am not," and stopped talking with them a lot. And that's my story, Not in Denial About Aging. And I think you'll find as you get older, the spring has sprung a bit. You're still hopefully young at heart and young in your mind, but your body, it's a bit of a different story. You know what? It's part of life cycle, and you just have to live with it and accept it and enjoy it, actually, if you can. So that is my story, Not in Denial About Aging. And now to return to the good stuff on World Poetry Cafe, Ariadne Sawyer, and our guest today, Nicholas Curl.
Thank you, Victor. That was a great story. And happy birthday in advance. I guess we'll be talking to you on Monday anyway.
Well, thank you. Yes, I expect
So
cards from
maybe
listeners in
you could be the
186
featured
countries.
guest because people have been asking about you being a featured guest. Can you be a guest and a technician at the same time? Or is that like rubbing your stomach and patting your head?
I don't know, but we could try it one day. Absolutely.
Okay, well, that would be a good birthday present. Yeah.
That would be
So
actually.
thank you, Victor, and thank you for all you've done. And now we go on to Nicholas Curl, who has been made so much to Sharon in my life. And I just wanted to tell you, Nicholas, that we have the whole team together now. Laura Kelsey, Atlas, Linda Williams, Victor, we haven't asked for the chapbook. And then we have the advisors, Melanie, Jeremy, of course. And who else is it?
Well,
Okay.
Mike, well,
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, okay. We'll get to that one. But anyway, we have the whole team together. Oh, Brad, yes, from Salt Spring. He has a book. His mom wrote a book about him, and that inspired Sharon's first book, the Blue Book. Oh, and now the new book is, Sharon decided will be Purple Book, or but not the chapbook. This is something different. But the new book is, Jeremy came up with the idea, Big Bessie the Explorer, and it's about going to different places. So we will be trying to go on that track as well, but I think we'll try to do the chapbook. But all the team members seem to be, Atlas is I think now 6 or 7. He was your youngest editor at 4. But high up in just Victor and Nicholas has just been phenomenal with Sharon, keeping us going through the COVID years and where we were pretty well in total isolation.
move how?
I know, and we moved to a new house and we're getting used to it. And even Tommy too is enjoying going to the house and running to the patio and it's a huge patio. So if anybody wants to come and visit, we do have a couch that opens into a bed. So we're doing well on that front. But Nicholas Krill is a cartoonist, a musician, an artist, and he'll tell you more about himself. He has a web channel, I believe, and he's just been such an important part, along with Victor, especially in Sharon's life. And I don't know how we would have gotten through all these years with that. So without further ado, want to welcome Nicholas Krill, cartoonist, artist, musician, to the program with our great thanks.
Thank you so much for having me.
So Nicholas, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Because my computer got hacked and I don't have basically any information on anybody.
Well, yeah, I can give you a thumbnail sketch of what I've done over the past years. When I graduated from high school, I went into the Army for 3 years. And when I got out of that, I started to go to school and earn my bachelor's degree and got my first engineering job. I've held several engineering jobs throughout the years in my career and moved quite a bit around the United States. And retired, I guess maybe about 10 years ago. Seems so long. And with the free time, I've devoted myself to things that were of interest to me as I was growing up, and that would be music, writing songs. I'm not a professional guitar player. I'm certainly not a singer, but that hasn't stopped me. And one of the companies I worked for had a product that allowed you to do animations, two-dimensional cartoons, and I got my hands on a copy of it, and I started to create animated poems for children, and it was just so much fun to do that. I tried to expand it a little bit to include animated music videos, and samples of those are posted on my YouTube channel. And I was just thrilled to be asked by Sharon to help support her second book. And I thought that that book was just a wonderful undertaking by all of the folks involved on the team, many of which Ariadne has already mentioned. So that's very brief and kind of brings me up to today. Just an honor for me to be a member of your group and to have been invited onto your show, I guess almost a half dozen times now over the past, I think it's been about 6 years, something like that. So thank you so much.
Yeah, that's great. And we really, you and Victor have just been stars. And I don't know what we would have done without you. I really don't. But I think all the books and the chapbook and that may be upcoming first, and then the book with the chapbook and the other book, Big Bessie Explores. Sharon's got a couple of ideas, but Handy Dart over in Vancouver suggested that we change the name to Big Bessie Super Dart and leave the handy out of it. We do have permission from them for the first 2 books, but coming to here, there is Handy Dart, but they thought it would be better to drop the it would be better to be Super Dart. And Sharon thought that was a good idea. And Big Bessie seems to like that. It's right along with Big Bessie's point of view, isn't it? So anyway, Nick, that is so wonderful. And thank you so much for all the support. I mean, I was thinking back, and sometimes through the rough times with COVID and that, you and Victor were all that kept us going, Sharon and I, and we had day programs with her studies and everything, and you know, exercise times, but the stories were the most important part. And without the 2 of you, and without being able to hear her stories, I think, I don't know, it might have had a lot different outcome. now in a new place, so we're trying to get adjusting. We're getting adjusted to the place. Tommy too has lost some weight, and he's also lost his desperation for greenies, so he only eats a few a day now. So that's a change on Tommy too, and he's looking good. He looks slimmer. And he runs quicker. So anyway, Nick, what are you doing now, and what are your adventures, and are you still able to help with the chapbook once we get it going? I tried hard to get all the team back together.
Yes, I just got a message here that says my internet connection is unstable, so I hope we can make it through the show here. Just a couple of things, if I could. I wanted to say how happy I am to hear about Sharon participating in the Special Olympics. I love bowling. I'm not a good bowler, but I love to bowl. And her Lego projects really sound like something I would really like to see. And I hope there's some way that we can get pictures of some of these projects.
Okay. She got a medal for one bowling.
What?
Yeah. Oh, your bowling ball is residing along with everything else in the kitchen sink and storage. But we'll get it out in time. That will
That's
be out.
wonderful.
Yeah, we will try to
And
do that, Nick. And we're going to try to get together with Laura about chapbooks, because I know very little about chapbooks, and I guess we'll have more conversations if it would be an online chapbook, if it would be a published chapbook, or if World Poetry Publishing is going to, I don't know. So there's a lot of questions right now.
also, I'd like to congratulate Victor on 79 years.
Woohoo!
Fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you.
79 successful travels around the sun.
That's right. That's great.
Absolutely.
And one other big shout out to Canada for their 27 Olympic medals. How about that?
Wow, 27. Well, we'll get your collection of medals. You've got quite a few, but they're hibernating.
Wait.
I know. We'll get the stuff out. We just have to go little by little. Yeah, I know. They're in a storage container. Yeah, don't worry about it. I know. Yeah, Kara's been amazing. Yeah.
My house.
Oh, the house is big, she says. Yeah, way bigger. It's like 3 times as big as our other one. Yeah. Anyway, she's excited about it. We'll try to send some pictures as soon as I get my tech stuff dealt with. That's our next step. And then, so Nicholas, sorry to interrupt you about that. What are your thoughts on chapbooks, or online or in paper? I did come across some TV programs that I had done, and there were a couple of people on Vancouver Island that were interested. One of them was J.W. Brain and Net, his wacky neuron friend, and I found a whole bunch of papers about how to go about that, but I guess we got to get it all down and then we can look into it. Is that your vision for the chapbook, to have it either online or interest a company for eventual TV, or what is your thought? Because I was glad to find all that paperwork, and it sort of laid out exactly what you have to do to put it to different companies.
Well, I think any medium that can help get the big Bessie stories out there for folks to enjoy would be a good thing. I've not been involved in a chapbook, but any way that I can help out, whether it's through some of the simple cartoons that I can do or the illustrations. My software is very limited and it's just me. So there's not any kind of a feature length type of a project that I would be able to provide, not with the software that I have now. But that
Right.
would be so great if we could get involvement by someone with more folks on the animation side and more
Okay.
sophisticated software. I think that would be just wonderful.
Okay. Well, we'll keep that in mind, Nick. It won't be for a while yet. We have to
Sure.
sort of survive everything here. So that's great. And tell us about, do you have a poem? Do you have a story to tell or
Yeah, I have a poem here.
okay.
But what I've been doing lately is I've been doing some volunteer work at local churches here who serve meals, evening meals. And
Oh,
so 3 times a month, I go out to these churches. On the second Sunday of the month, I go to the first church to volunteer. On the third Sunday of the month, I go to a second church. And then on the last Sunday of the month, I go to the third church.
wow.
And so these meals are free and they're for, folks who in some cases can use the extra meal and use the a chance to get together with folks. And it's kind of it's a buffet setup. And so local organizations donate the food and people will donate clothing and other types of items. So it's a really, I was just amazed at what they were able to do and so thankful that I was able to be a part of it. A couple of Sundays ago, we served over 100 people. So
Wow.
we can get quite a large group in there. And I'm thankful that I was given this opportunity to help out. Another thing I do is here in the Pittsburgh area, we have these groups, they're called meetups, where people who like to do similar things can get together and enjoy each other's company. About a week ago, I was with one of my groups and we went to a sunflower festival. So we got to go into a sunflower field and each of us got to cut 6 sunflowers that we could take home. And they had food trucks there where you could buy refreshments and ice cream and other kinds of foods. And we had a local couple there, musicians who could perform for us. So it was a really good time. And so these
Wow.
meetup groups are a good opportunity for folks to get out of the house and get together and do some socializing. I don't know if you have something similar to that in your area.
Well, we just moved here to Duncan. I guess Victor could talk more about that probably happening. We just sort of came out of COVID and then my daughter, my oldest daughter, Kara, decided it was time we moved. And so she packed up everything and took it away, which we're still finding stuff. But I don't know what's available here in Duncan. I know for years before COVID, Sharon and I did finding your creative voice workshops. And it was, I think we're going to start that up, but it was for especially abled people. And it was so neat to see. And then also we go to retirement homes. And it was so neat to see people's eyes light up when we came in and they had a chance to read whatever they had written or tell, in honor and in appreciation. So I guess that's the closest that we've done, but sounds like what you're doing is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's wonderful that yourself and me were able to get out there and help out wherever we can. And like you're saying, see the appreciation on the faces of the
Yeah,
folks. It makes you feel good all over.
that's
Um,
right. Yeah.
I do have a poem here,
Oh, great.
if I may.
Sure, go ahead.
It's called Being There. A honeybee buzzed right by me and nearly knocked me down. But then she circled back to see that I was safe and sound. Please pardon me, good sir, she said. I'm not myself today, for something bad has just occurred, much to my dismay. And as she told me of her plight, her eyes began to tear. It soon was clear as she drew near that she had much to fear. My babies and me live in a tree that's just around the bend. A row of trees is what you'll see, and ours is at the end. A sudden gust of wind and dust blew through and shook our tree. I heard a thump and felt a bump, my babies next to me. And when I felt it safe enough, I went outside and found our home that once was way up high had fallen to the ground. My babies are too young and must not venture from the hive. And now I fear if we stay here, my babies won't survive. I must return my babies to the safety of the tree. And so I seek a kindly soul to help my family. You need not take another step, said I to the bee, for I am here. I will help return you to your tree. With no delay, she led the way and took me on a run. And when we arrived, I saw the hive lying in the sun. With gentle hands, I raised the hive and set it in a space where never will another wind dislodge it from its place. So now the bee and family are safe once again. And on this day, I'm glad to say, I've made another friend.
Wow, that's a wonderful story. Oh, that's so great. Wow, a wonderful poem too. I
Thank
think
you.
it sort of shows your helpful nature as well. So,
Well, again, I like to target poems for children and try to incorporate ideas or concepts of friendship and helping folks. And I think it's just a really nice way to do that in these simple little stories.
yeah, and I think everybody can relate to that too,
Sure.
because I have a friend on Maine and he's a bee person and the bees will come to meet him and they'll go up and down his arm and you know he has a real connection with them. And I said to him, "Do you ever get bitten?" He says, "No, never. They're my friends." Hey, that's so neat. That's like you too, you know? That's so great. Well, that's really something that you and Victor have been with us for so many years, as well as so many other poets. And I also want to thank all the world poets that came together to pray for Allah's family. And there is a real quest to revive world poetry, and I'm not sure how we're going to do it, but a lot of the world poetry youth directors that I'm so proud of are coming forward to do that. So if anyone listening, or you, Nicholas, or Victor, has a vision for world poetry, I told everyone I will try to deal with what I can deal or not deal with in September, possibly late October, I'm not sure. So yeah, anyone that has a vision for world poetry, then that would be great. And I guess Hada from Mongolia and Alaha, originally she started with us at 14 from Afghanistan. And the prayers that went around the world for her family in the hospital. I think she's in Pennsylvania as well. But anyway, going back to the subject, if anybody has a vision as to what they want to see, that would be great. And
Well,
just a minute, Sharon. What?
I was going to say, I was thinking with regards to the Big Bessie character, if there was something like, I don't know if you had in mind, maybe a web page or something, a way of promoting the books through the use of these simple little cartoons that I've created. Right
Yeah.
now, the only place you can see them are on my YouTube channel.
Yeah, that sounds like a good thing. And all my equipment is not working properly here, so I've got to get a new computer. Victor's been advising me, and possibly a new printer and a whole bunch of stuff. So once I have more capabilities, maybe I can get someone to help with that. I can't do it myself, I don't think, creating a website. But that's a great idea, Nicholas. Thank you. Victor, do you have any questions for Nicholas?
Seen some of his animations, and I'm curious to see if he's done anything new in that regard. And like that poem you read. Wouldn't mind hearing another one as well.
Do you have another one, Nicholas?
Yes, I have a very short one. Regarding the animations, I think I saw in your email someone had asked a question about uh, creating cartoons, and I wanted to mention the software that I use is very outdated, and it's been replaced by a version called Moho. That's Moho. And any of your listeners could search Moho Animation if
Oh,
they're interested in trying to create 2D or 3D animation. I think I saw it on Amazon for about $130. But
oh,
anyone who is interested can just search the internet for animation software, and you'll find a lot of companies have very good offerings.
okay.
So
But
I have one more short poem if we have the time.
great,
Sure.
another. Yoo-hoo.
This is very short. It's called The Critic. A bird upon a wooden post did stop me with her gaze. So piercing were those eyes of hers through morning mist and haze. 'Twas not a stare, more like a glare. It chilled me to the bone. So impolite, this is not right. I wish she'd leave my home. With shaking fist I called to her, why must you look my way? To my amazement she spoke back, your socks don't match today.
Wow, that's a neat one. Oh, you have such a great style, Nicholas. Really neat. Have you ever thought about doing your own book?
Well, I did create a book. It's a word book. It's got, I don't know, maybe about 12 poems or so. But as you know, other things in life happen.
Yeah.
And so they fall by the wayside. I did try to create an electronic book, something that you could load onto, I forget the name of these little handbooks, electronic handbooks.
Mm-hmm.
But then I kind of like the idea of doing animation. And so that really appealed to me. And of course, what we did together on Sharon's second book there, I think that I think that if we could get the right people to look at some of these simple little cartoons, I think there's enough there that, you know, maybe the right people would say, hey, perhaps we could do maybe a 30-minute feature or something on Big Bessie. The characters are so fascinating, and there's so many of them, and the adventures are just, if I could say, they're out of this world. And
Right. Yeah,
so
that sounds.
I just think it would be a wonderful thing if we could get some professional help to put together something to really show Big Bessie to the world on a grand stage.
Yeah, that sounds
That would
good.
be, yeah, that would be absolutely fabulous.
And I'll tell you something, I just had a thought, and maybe it's today it's far-fetched, but boy, oh boy, could I see a stage presentation of a Big Bessie adventure,
Right.
a similar to, you know, stage out on the stage with actual live characters in
Right.
some way or another. So I think it's wide open to what we can do with Big Bessie, and it's going to take some pretty big thinking and a lot of help and support. But I think that Big Bessie is something that Sharon has created that I can see that having a life of its own and continuing on.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. And a number of handy darts in Vancouver area, the drivers and stuff, they want to be on as advisors and coming up with different stories because they just loved her stuff so much. And they were so kind to give us permission to use the name, you know, and even the staff over there just was so supportive. So I don't know, there's a handy art thing here, but much smaller. But again, it's getting to know people and good ideas. And I better listen to this show. after Victor posts it again because it's hard to, or if anybody has any ideas, please send them to me.
I'd like to follow up with what Nicholas just said. I thought it was great, the idea of expanding it, and I have 4 words for you. Are you ready?
Okay.
Big Bessie on ice.
There
I
you
mean,
go.
you talked about Disney. They've had Frozen on ice and Snow White on ice. Sharon loves hockey, and I can just see a duplicate of Big Bessie slipping around on the ice, having a great time.
Oh yeah, she did that one time, remember, in one of the books. I don't know which one.
Oh yeah, we've read it.
Big Bessie and I.
Well,
And
yes,
Jeremy had Big Bessie going to the game show, and then I had Big Bessie going to Special Olympics. So those are 3 that are not hatched yet, but they're ideas. And yours is a good one, Big Bessie on ice.
yeah, let's think big. I mean, with a stage show or on ice, Victor, you can be involved in filming of it.
Absolutely, that would be a hoot. I will suggest we have about 10 minutes or a little less left, actually, so it may be time to conclude the interview.